Developing tonight, a surge in polling for President-elect Donald Trump as he rides the tailwinds of his surprising November victory. Mr. Trump appears to be experiencing a bit of an extended honeymoon phase with the American public when it comes to his popularity. A new Bloomberg poll out today shows that he is at 50%, marking a 17-point jump since August. What is more, the same poll found that the percent of American adults who believe that the country's on the right track is now at its highest place in 4 years. So what's contributing to these jumps? And can it last? Probably not. Most of these things go up and down, right? Our Fox News digital politics editor, Chris Stirewalt, is here to explain tonight. So, Chris, very nice move. Is this normally what we see with a president-elect?
Well, it depends on how you're rolling when you get there. In Donald Trump's case, he may have squeaked over the finish line to a certain degree, but he has gotten the honeymoon is more pronounced for him. Barack Obama came into office popular, or he went into Election Day fairly popular 8 years ago. This time, Donald Trump was lugging what looked like overwhelming negatives. People were very down on him. You remember a month ago, it was just a month and a day ago that we had the election. A month ago and 3 weeks ago, people were saying, should Donald Trump be normalized? And critics said, should the president have even welcomed him to the White House? And all this stuff. Right. A month later, you know what we're saying? Well, half the country says they feel pretty good about him. And, by the way, on his core policy sets, people are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. So Trump definitely has changed the landscape around him.
You know, he always said that he could be presidential, and, you know, I remember even Paul Manafort, who, you know, had a short stay in the Trump campaign, said, well, he, you know, likes to start out on the edges, and then he'll kind of move his way into the middle. You've got Al Gore and Rahm Emanuel coming to meet with Donald Trump.
That's right.
And it's, you know, and Kellyanne Conway said that President Obama and Donald Trump have spent 30 hours on the phone together. What, I mean, is that possible?
That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours, man.
I've spent 30 hours on the phone since 8th grade, so I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about, Chris, but they have a lot to talk about. And
I can picture there twisting the cord around your finger as you're talking to your friends. I know. I would say that part of what Donald Trump is benefiting from is that there was a caricature of him that certainly that his political opponents, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, laid out there, but also that was in the press. He's a Nazi. He's a monster. He's evil. He is going to drink the blood of the children of America, run and hide. He's the Krampus. And then he showed up and people went, oh, he's kind of funny. I think I like him. And he's doing this moderate.
When you start there,
right, then everything's good. That's right. And he's being moderate, and he's making these cooing noises that liberals like, even though he's appointing people that are really conservative.
Fascinating. Chris, thank you very much. Always good to see you, sir. Come see us in the morning. All right, so let's be joined now by Republican Congressman Sean Duffy and Richard Fowler, a Fox News contributor and nationally syndicated radio talk show host. Welcome, gentlemen.
Martha.
Hello there. Good to have you all here. So, Richard, I know you were smiling broadly as Chris and I were talking. What do you think about all that?
Well, I think there's some truth to what Chris is saying here. I think every president gets a honeymoon phase after they win. The American people are looking for him to provide answers and to create jobs and to build this wall and all these other things. And so I think that's what we're going to wait to see what happens. Now, I think Donald Trump has a couple of problems. I think problem number one is this. As he gets into his first 100 days, he's going to want to pass this $1 trillion transportation or infrastructure bill, which I think is a great idea if done correctly. And I think budget hawks like Congressman Duffy and others will be like, oh, $1 trillion is too much. We need to lower that number. And that's where you're going to see the big eruption that will be Trump taking on his own party.
Well, Representative Duffy, I thought it was interesting in the interview that Donald Trump did today. He said, I would like to be judged on my presidency starting now, starting when I got elected, because the Dow is at an all-time high. I mean, the market has responded incredibly positively so far to the Trump transition part of this process. But if he comes forward with that bill, are you going to give him a hard time about how to pay for it?
So, well, it depends. If he doesn't pay for it, we'll obviously have trouble with it. But there's great pay for it. I mean, we can patriate foreign profits back to the states, whether we charge 5, 8, 10% interest. You can pay about $300 or $400 billion of that $1 trillion expenditure. But listen, Martha, we're $1 trillion in debt. To think that we're going to add another $1 trillion of unpaid spending on top of it, it's not going to happen. But what is interesting is liberals across America, like maybe a little bit of Richard, their hair's on fire. They're pulling it out. They can't believe the evil Donald Trump is actually, you know, warming up to the American people, and they kind of like him. They want to give him a shot. What's interesting is, listen, 1 second, only 28% of Americans want Democrats to oppose Donald Trump, and Republicans in Congress, they actually want them to work with us to secure the border, fix health care, and grow the economy, which is really remarkable. for Democrats now to have this push from their own side to say, work together and get some of these big initiatives done.
Well, I find it fascinating because this is really what I think is the most interesting. So, Richard, tell me, do you believe, are you willing to give Donald Trump a chance? I mean, the people were sobbing and devastated after this election in, half of the country, essentially, right? Are they starting to feel better, or do they think this is not real?
Well, listen, I respect the presidency of the United States. The person in it, that's a different story depending upon who it is every 4 years. But here's the thing. I think the American people, they were angry and they were frustrated. They felt that the economy was rigged. I think millennials especially felt that going into last month, as Chris Stirewalt said. And now Donald Trump has to prove that he can really, quote unquote, make America great again. And like Congressman Duffy pointed out, he's going to have some trouble in his own caucus making that a reality. The same thing that he's proposing, the same thing Barack Obama proposed 8 years ago, $1 trillion infrastructure bill, and Republicans blocked it tooth and nail, and he just indicated they're going to do it again. So to all the Donald Trump supporters out there, you have it right here.
Richard, remember when this was an $800 billion spending bill under Barack Obama, and they said there were shovel-ready jobs, and there were no shovel-ready jobs. So that $800 billion,
not true, Congressman.
You got nothing for that money.
We've had 60 consecutive months of job growth
and airports.
60 consecutive months.
$800 billion was wasted. But one other point.
Richard, hold on. Sean, just quickly before we go, because I'm pretty much out of time. What's the best way to pay for it? Quickly.
Repatriate profits from overseas. Best way. But we're going to do health care. We're going to do the border. A lot of issues that Americans have bought into. This is one issue we'll get to, but it's not going to be the fourth one on
party, Martha.
Democrats are going to like him on this. You're going to bring bipartisanship in Donald Trump.
You know what I always say? Actions speak louder than words. So we'll see what happens. And if he makes good on those promises, then he will have made good on them, which is tough to do in Washington. Okay.
Thanks, Martha.
Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha.
Great to see you both.